DW Africa Link.
At 81, Yoweri Museveni has secured yet another 5-year term following Uganda's recently concluded elections. The country's electoral commission declared him winner with more than 71% of the vote. But opposition candidates insist the poll was marred by irregularities and was anything but free and fair. So what really unfolded during Uganda's election? Stay with us to find out. I am Ajua Tinkroma Domina, and this is Africa Link, the podcast that connects you to the stories that matter.
Africa Link, every weekday here on DW.
On January 15, Ugandans voted in presidential and parliamentary elections held under a nationwide internet shutdown, delayed voting in several areas, allegations of irregularities from opposition, scattered violence, and the arrest of some opposition polling agents. So what exactly transpired on voting day and in the days that followed, culminating in Yoweri Museveni being declared president for a 7th term, and what lies ahead for Ugandans during this new mandate? I'm joined by DW's Frank Yiga in Kampala, as well as Member of Parliament for Otuki County on the ticket of the National Resistance Movement, Paul O'Mara. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure being with you.
Yeah, I'm happy to be on the line. Thank you.
Frank, let me begin with you. Some of us were on the sidelines, and by that I mean we're in other countries monitoring what was unfolding. But you were directly in the mix, and you largely saw much of the things that unfolded on election day, on collation day, up until the declaration of results. Walk us through all that you saw surrounding this year's election in Uganda.
Well, Ajua, we woke up early to vote to make our queues because we were told that as early as 7 a.m., the materials will be on site and we'll cast our votes the earlier the better. So most of us were there on time, although we had duties to do, to vote and to report. Yes, some places we went to, most of the places had the voting materials, the kits were already delivered. But of course, the system went off. It wasn't working because we tried to interact with the people managing those biometric kits, and they told us that they are equally confused because they didn't have the passcodes to operate the machines, and they were waiting for confirmation from their superiors to direct them on what to do. So the people kept questioning themselves what was taking place, and they didn't know what was happening actually until we told them. They all got to know that the machine actually wasn't working until later on. Some worked and others resorted to the manual voting as plan B, which worked for them, which means most places I visited around town, around Kampala, voting started late as 11 a.m.
Beyond the late start of vote, there are a few issues we will address shortly, but let me go to Paul. Paul, what is your assessment generally of this year's election? First of all, congratulations to you, but what is your assessment of the election?
On the day of election, we were supposed to start voting by 7 a.m., but it took a lot more time, and the materials started arriving at around 10, 11 o'clock, thereabout. And so therefore the voting started late. But nonetheless, people turned up, and not everybody was able to vote because of the time constraints. And so the turn-up was not as much as we expected. But from my vantage point where we were, the election was smooth. There was no problem of any kind of vote rigging. I didn't see it myself because I went and voted. There was orderliness. Where I am, where I voted from, and in my constituency, there was no violence. There was no any kind of foreplay that came to our attention.
Paul, did you visit other constituencies as well? And perchance, have you seen videos and images circulating online suggesting that your account of a free and fair election may be slightly false?
Because you see, the internet was off, and therefore the communication was not possible. Yeah,
What was
so
it?
it was.
Was it a deliberate attempt by your government to prevent people from showing the world exactly what was happening? Why did you shut down the internet?
I couldn't speak for them because personally I was not involved, and I wasn't aware that the internet would go down. Either it was a security system, a team, I could not tell, but we were all surprised that the internet went down, and therefore there was no information at all of what was happening anywhere. The only thing I had, I think later on when the president, I think was, when he was declared the winner, when he was commenting about some incidents in a place called Butambala, where an opposition candidate who lost tried to mobilize a mob to attack a police station and to attack the returning officer center where the electoral officials were adding votes. And I think they had skirmishes with the security forces. That was mainly a major one, which even the president made reference to.
Frank, let me come to you. You were making a point from an observer point of view, and from some of the election observers you have spoken to, this election was free and fair.
The election was not free and fair. It was to some extent, but to a larger extent, it wasn't free and fair. First of all, the shutdown of the internet became suspicious, just like Honorable Paul has stated it. It became so suspicious to everyone. First, before they shut it down, the minister in charge communicated to the public that there won't be internet interferences. No sooner had he announced that than the Uganda Communications Commission addressed the nation that internet is going to be shut down in about 3 hours. So those contradicting statements became so suspicious. So when they shut it down, that's of course reason number one why the elections are not free and fair, because things were done back doors. And of course, people kept questioning themselves where these results were coming from, because what they were tallying, counting at the polling stations totally differed from what the Electoral Commission tally center was announcing. So that also became suspicious to so many people. And of course, the delay, breakdown of the machines, the biometric kits was also something people questioned, and also a delay to have the materials for voting delivered to some polling stations also became suspicious.
Very well, Frank. Paul, I see you're eager to comment on some of the things Frank has said, but let's take the issues one after the other. You have said something slight about the internet shutdown. You were not aware, and I suppose some of the other members of your party were also not aware. So there is the issue of internet shutdown. There is the issue of the house arrest of the opposition leader, Bobi Wine. I mean, the police came to confirm that he was under security watch. There is the issue of the alleged raid of his residence. For whatever reason, we don't know. There is the allegation of arrest of opposition polling agents. There is the allegation that people were taking, electoral officials were taking ballot papers in favor of a particular candidate. All of these issues, do they come as a surprise to you as a member of the ruling party?
As I said, all that you've said, I'm hearing it also from you. I didn't know that, for example, opposition candidates were arrested, or Mr. Bobi Wine was taken under house arrest or anything of that kind.
Oh, there was
So
a
I'm
press
here.
conference by the police. You did not follow that?
as I said, that there was no as I speak now, there's no internet connection. So we couldn't hear because we are in the village. We are only using phones, only using telephones, not even watching any TV because the villages there, we don't have TVs. TVs could be in hotels. So in the villages, there are no TVs to watch anything going on. Internet normally provides a lot for us. But if that happened, then it's unfortunate. What has been of our immediate interest is whether our friends succeeded in winning elections and the fallout from the voters. So we found that very historical, very experienced legislators did not make it. That was our major concern. Even in the central region, the very senior legislators like Honorable Segona, Honorable Magachivumbi, now these are very senior, respected leaders. They did not make it. And then we also saw the coming back of the historicals like Honorable Amelia Shambade, who came back from the central. And that has been our major interest to see whether, who has lost, who has gained. But I cannot, let me put it this way, the kind of violence which was there in 2021, I've not seen it. The only thing that I see is a lot of security presence. Even when I was coming yesterday from Lira, there were some roadblocks on the way, just as you almost reach Kampala, and they were checking the cars. And I was told basically to find out whether those who are entering the city could be carrying out some weapons or something that can destabilize the center. So I think it was more or less a security check just to see that the city is not disturbed.
The opposition leader, Bobi Wine, says in Mukono, 4 people have died. In Butambala, 10 people have been killed. In Makinde, 3 people have been killed. These are allegations on the grounds. As a legislator, would you call for investigation into some of these claims?
Yes. If people have been killed, then an investigation has to be undertaken. It is not within my domain to say that or to make a judgment call over it. Until an investigation has been carried out, then we would be able to understand exactly what happened. But let me emphasize this, that no Ugandan should be killed for exercising their freedoms, should be killed under any circumstances at all. The fact that they were killed, there should be an explanation. What really happened? What led? Because first of all, there are different mechanisms where the police could react. One, you tear gas, or you use a baton, you tear gas, you use some control elements before shooting. The fact that they shot, under what circumstances did the shooting occur? So that is the point I'm saying. I'm not justifying that people should be killed when you go to express your dissatisfaction or whatever. That one is undemocratic. It should not happen.
That's fair. Paul, you are a legislator, so you know the processes that exist when a party is aggrieved or is not satisfied with an election result. What options are available to the opposition now that they claim this election was rigged?
And if you have evidence of vote rigging, of stealing an election, we have an arbiter, which is the court of law. You take the evidence before court of law, and then you go and have the matter adjudicated. That is what I would recommend for any person who is aggrieved, other than resolving into violence, because this country is big enough for all of us.
So, Frank, yes, you talk to us about the internet issues. Has it been restored, and how are Ugandans coping now?
Well, the internet is partially restored. restored. Though when it came back, it was to the excitement of many Ugandans. It was back to life, back to reality, and says finally we're back to life. So though along the way we're realizing that it's kind of a raw deal, because in some places there's no internet, others are having slow internet, and those who are doing businesses, well, I pity them because we have online transactions. Companies like the motorbike transporters use online business. We have the bankers. Mobile money businesses are also being affected. Not only those into the business, but even us who transact using it, because apparently you can deposit, but you cannot withdraw. You can feel the pinch, and then in some instances you cannot have any of those. You cannot either deposit nor withdraw. And so many of us use mobile money to do businesses. I'm receiving calls from my bankers and the Revenue Authority asking me to file my returns, my taxes, but I cannot do it. And the later I do it, I mean, I'm going to be fined. So this is the dilemma we're facing. It's so bad.
To tell you what, even I am not in Uganda, but on this podcast alone, the challenges we've had trying to record has been excruciating, to say the least. I'm just wondering, Frank, how have young people, Gen Zs, who live their lives almost all the time on the internet, been coping with this shutdown?
Well, we're making fun of the Gen Zs that they died the very day the internet was shut down, and because it's their life. I mean, they communicate via internet. They were born in the era of internet, so definitely they're doing badly. And I believe their prayer now is to have it restored fully.
Finally, before I let you go, you have spoken about protecting the gains. That is what your party campaigned heavily on. What gains exactly are you protecting?
One is that Uganda is an island of peace in East Africa. We have had incidents and instability all around us. And you know the countries I'm referring to. Now, if you come to Uganda, you actually, for a very long time, we have been the peacemaker. We have been extending our tentacles for peace in the region. So we must keep the peace that we have gained in terms of the security and the peace of our country. That is number one. Number two, Uganda has made a positive step economically. We have moved from a GDP of $3.5 billion in 1985, and we are now moving to $65 billion. And in the next 10 years, we are looking forward to going up to $500 billion. So the positive trajectory of our economy, the growth in our factories, the road infrastructure which we have built. So the economy is moving in the right direction. We really need to keep that particular gain.
You think Ugandans agree with you on this point?
You just need to come to Kampala and you see how private enterprise, how individuals have flourished. You know, you just need to come and look around and see Kampala. You see the Kampala we had long time ago is a totally different Kampala. Kampala has now moved around from that 7 hills. You know, like Kampala is now, I've passed Mukono, is going towards Jinja. It's nothing but major housing and private estate infrastructures in whichever direction you look at Kampala. So there's been a lot of growth in private sector and wealth creation by the individuals.
Frank, let me come to you now. What next for Uganda? Yoweri Museveni has won another term. So you're going to have him as president for the next 5 years. What are Ugandans expecting differently from this presidency?
Well, Ugandans don't expect much because, his slogan, the NRM slogan, was so clear, protecting the gains. So it means they cannot do further than that or more than that. That is all they have in place. So they want to make sure that they consolidate what they have and build on that, because they say they have created jobs. We don't expect more job opportunities to come up. They say they've, done services in all sectors, health, education, and all that. So we don't expect more to come from, the government. What we have so far is what we have to go with, because we are protecting the gains as a country. So the people don't expect much to come from these people, because they've offered it all. 5 years is going to be a long time. They have to, hang on in there until the 5 years elapse. Who knows? Things may change along the way. But for now, we have to go with the flow.
Right. Paul, we have to let you go. But finally,
yes.
what is it that the NRM sees in Yoweri Museveni that you failed him for 7 consecutive times? Are there no young people in the party?
I think is a symbol of stability. Is a symbol of stability. That is number one. Number two is there is the ability to bring the East African leaders and African leaders together, because we are moving now beyond the East African integration into the AU activities. So we still need him to help us champion the integration of Africa. The other one also is the economic outlook is planned for the next 10 years. If we can touch the $500 billion, then we can let Muse go. After these 5 years, then the party will decide whether he will still have the latitude and the momentum to serve. That is the decision of the party. The party decided him as a presidential candidate, and the people of Uganda has confirmed it. So we'll see after the next 5 years.
Until he is tired to run, we will always be seeing Museveni.
He can still do 50 press-ups. I don't know how many people can do 50 press-ups on a more joyous mode.
Yeah, is that a measurement?
Which still means physically, it still means physically and mentally it's still strong.
Interesting. Thank you so much. Thank you as well, Frank Iga, DW correspondent in Kampala, Uganda.
Africa is changing. Don't get left behind. Tune in to Africa Link.
According to official results, opposition leader Bobi Wine garnered just about 24% of the vote, more than 10 percentage points lower than his 2021 performance. But given the circumstances surrounding the election, many in the opposition maintain that the process was far from free and fair. It's a familiar script in parts of East Africa, and all eyes will now be on how events unfold and what this means really for the region's democratic trajectory. What's your own assessment of Uganda's election? Share your thoughts with us on Facebook at DW Africa. Listen on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe to the DW Africa YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. This show was co-produced and edited by Isaac Kalechi. I am Ajua Tinkrama Domina. Many thanks for listening.